And his motorcycle's still back there. But so different,
guy.
Bridging the cultural divide. What have you seen down there? I went down to Dallas, Deep Ellum, where everything was boarded up. And that's one thing, a lot of people, they see the protests that turn into riots, and they want to say most of them are peaceful. But what you definitely notice is the media, they don't go down to deal with the refuse, right, that's left over here, all the trash. What is it like accurately in D.C.? Is it pockets? Is it most of the city? What's the vibe?
No, it's most of the city, and particularly in the areas with power, by the Capitol or by the White House, it's really closed up. And the main thing I'm noticing is people are just afraid. The Seattle example is the one that I think is the most extreme now.
Right.
They basically declared their own territory. But there's this kind of irony to it, which is all of these well-meaning, mostly white liberals actually believe what the radicals, Antifa, the radical Marxists, the anarchists, what they all say is we want to get rid of the police, we want to get rid of borders. That's obviously BS, because the minute they take over a territory, they set up their own police gangs, they set up their own borders. It's not that they want to get rid of government and police, they just want to get rid of your government and police, and guess what? The one they're bringing in ain't going to be a whole lot nicer.
No. Well, I've heard that the autonomous zone is entirely peaceful, and there was a Bob Dylan cover band. Is that not true?
One thing I always notice is they always say it's mostly peaceful protests that unexpectedly turned a little bit violent, but the rioters are totally different than the protesters, even though they're in the same place at the same time for the same reason, and they're dressed the same way, and they're the exact same people.
Right, exactly. It's like, can't you guys just at least do shirts and skins? We can't, no.
Make it easier for us.
You know what the standard is that I say, okay, when you say peaceful as all of the Tea Party protests, go.
Yes.
And they go, are you going to consider violating curfew? Yep. Actually, as a matter of fact, any peaceful protest where they leave the area cleaner than they found it. Major city now, I'm not talking about 4 people on a street corner in Poughkeepsie. That's what they point to. They point to a suburban area where they know everyone's carrying, and so people they're on their best behavior. I don't think there's been a single major city over the course of 2 weeks that has not seen serious damage. And I want to ask you this, because you're more wonkish than I am. There are two minds about this. Do you think these riots how do you think they affect the president's chances? Good, bad for re-election?
I think he's got to show that he can step up and stop them. I like that President Trump I think he's taking the right tone. Most of the tweets have been really on message. But I think what a lot of people are looking at is they're saying, okay, you're right about the tweets. You're all right about holding hearings and tweets and things, but you've got to actually do something. And this brings up the real problem that conservatives have, which is conservatives don't control any of the institutions. Right. There's this crazy thing where the left always talks about institutional racism, as though it's our fault, conservatives' fault. Then I think the left controls every major institution in the country, the media, Hollywood, big tech, the academy, on and on, the administrative government, everything. So if there is institutional racism, whose fault is that?
Right.